What if I told you that one bold decision could shake the entire NBA? One rising star just flipped the script on everything we thought we knew about player loyalty, power, and control. Welcome to Baal IQ Zone, and today's story isn't just news. It's a turning point. Jonathan Kuminga rejected $45 million. Yes, you heard that right. The same Kuminga who once waited in the shadows of NBA legends has now stepped into the spotlight. Not with points or highlights, but with power. Let's break it down. Kuminga was offered a 2-year, $45 million extension. Not a bad deal, right? But for Kuminga, it wasn't about the money. It was about something far more important: control, where most young players quietly sign whatever's offered. Kuminga didn't just hesitate, he flat out said no. Why? It's because the offer came with strings, invisible chains disguised as fine. Print a team option in the second year, a demand to give up trade protection, a contract that would have locked him in, stripped away his voice, and handed his fate entirely to the front office. Kuminga saw it and refused. NBA insiders reveal that his main issue wasn't the dollars, it was the power imbalance. Signing that deal would have meant agreeing to terms that gave him zero say in what came next, including being traded without warning. That, Kuminga wasn't willing to do, while 10 other players gave up their no-trade rights this offseason. Kuminga stood alone. He's not being difficult. He's being deliberate. He's fighting for something most players don't even realize: they've lost agency over their own careers. But this decision didn't come without consequences. Golden State froze. No big signings, no trades, no offseason moves. Because Kuminga's contract situation cast a shadow over every strategy. And as if that wasn't enough, Kuminga even missed the chance to represent his national team, all because this standoff still hasn't ended. And then came the twist. Whispers began circulating. Rival teams watching, waiting. And one team stepped closer. Sacramento. A deal is now this close to happening. Sources say that if one final detail, the lifting of protection on a 2030 first-round pick, is approved, the deal is done. Kuminga becomes a king. And this isn't just a trade. This is a transformation. If it goes through, Kuminga won't just wear a new jersey. He'll walk into Sacramento as a starter, a primary option behind all-stars, a franchise pillar, shot at becoming not just good, but great projected lineup. Schroeder, Levine, DeRozan, Kuminga, Sab, power, speed, fire, with the Kings loading up and Kuminga stepping into a larger role. The Western Conference could see a new dark horse rising. But here's what matters most. Kuminga made this happen. Not with a buzzer beater, not with a viral dunk, but with conviction, with guts. He turned down guaranteed millions because he believed in something deeper: his own value, his future, his right to choose. This isn't just about one player. It's a message to the league. The era of silent rookies and obedient extensions might be fading. The new generation, they want more than minutes. They want meaning. Kuminga's gamble may still blow up in his face, or it could make him a pioneer. Either way, he's changed the conversation. Fans are split. Some call him bold, others say he's reckless. But everyone's watching, and as the preseason approaches, one thing is certain: Kuminga is no longer just another young talent in the system. He's a symbol of something bigger: the fight for control, respect, and the freedom to shape your own destiny. And whether he ends up in Sacramento or somewhere else, this battle just redefined the rules of the game.
For over a decade, Sacramento was a name whispered in NBA circles with a sigh, a franchise locked in rebuild purgatory, trying and failing to matter. But this offseason, something shifted. Sacramento has finally decided: enough is enough. The message is loud, clear, and dangerous for the rest of the West. With the additions of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and a potential blockbuster trade for Jonathan Kuminga, the Kings are no longer just aiming for a playoff berth. They're gunning for respect, relevance, and revenge. And for Kuminga, this move might be the spark that ignites everything. He's just 21 years old, but already he's made headlines by turning down $45 million, not out of greed, but out of vision. He doesn't want to play safe. He wants to become great. And in Sacramento, he just might. The Kuminga era could begin now. Kuminga has always shown flashes: elite two-way upside, high defensive IQ, explosive slashes to the rim, and an underrated ability to create in isolation. What he hasn't had: a system built around his growth. But Sacramento's offer changes that. Under Mike Brown, a coach who knows Kuminga well from their time together, everything aligns. Brown has proven he can balance structure with freedom. And in Sacramento, Kuminga would walk in as a starter, not a project. This wouldn't be a waiting game. It would be an unleashing. With consistent minutes, offensive responsibility, and trust, Kuminga could finally become what many scouts projected him to be: a future all-star. And in doing so, he wouldn't just elevate the Kings, he'd send shockwaves through the league. The Warriors' gamble, or their mistake? Meanwhile, questions are swirling in the Bay Area. Why let go of a player with this much upside, especially after a post-All-Star break run where Kuminga averaged over 16 points per game? Insiders say the Warriors' front office was divided. Some believed Kuminga was the key to the team's next chapter. Others wanted to preserve financial flexibility and trade leverage, just in case a bigger name became available. But now, they risk losing a future star for a protected pick and cap relief. The fan base has noticed. Local forums, podcasts, and radio shows are buzzing with frustration. With the dynasty era closing and legends like Klay Thompson gone, Kuminga was seen as the bridge to whatever came next. Losing him now feels like burning the bridge before even crossing it. A league-wide shift in motion. If the deal with Sacramento is finalized and signs suggest it's close, the ripple effects won't stop at Golden State. Kuminga's firm stance, rejecting restrictive contracts, fighting for no trade clauses, demanding control, might just spark a revolution among young players. He's proving that you don't have to be a superstar to bet on yourself. You just have to believe you're worth more than the system allows. Expect other teams to adjust their strategies. Expect agents to rewrite their negotiation playbooks. Expect players to ask not just for money, but for power. The era of blind loyalty and team-first silence, it may be fading. The Kings' aggression isn't over yet, and this trade might just be the beginning. Sacramento is reportedly eyeing more moves, including a potential deal for a veteran point guard to solidify their backcourt. They're done waiting. They're ready to climb. A new big three in the West? Sabonis, LaVine, Kuminga. Throw in DeRozan and possibly Westbrook, and suddenly, Sacramento isn't just interesting. They're dangerous. This isn't rebuilding. This is rebirth. But back in Golden State, another story is quietly taking shape. While the spotlight stays fixed on Kuminga, another name is rising behind the curtain: Moses Moody. While free agency rumors swirl and fans cry out for a flashy new wing, the Warriors have already made their choice. They're not signing a replacement. They're betting on Moody. Despite a rocky postseason and questions about his shooting, the organization has doubled down. The message is clear: Moody is part of the next era, and the numbers back it up. In 34 starts last season, Moody averaged 11 points, shot nearly 40% from deep, and brought energy, spacing, and defense, all while playing through a torn UCL in his thumb. That injury? It went public only after the season ended. Suddenly, the playoff dip made sense. Now fully healthy and entering a 3-year, $37.5 million extension, Moody is positioned to take over the wing role full-time. He's not just filling space, he's filling a future. A strategic pivot, not a panic move. The Warriors' decision not to chase overpriced wings in free agency isn't a failure. It's a signal. They're transitioning carefully, quietly, from legends to legacy. Instead of big trades or desperate splashes, they're investing in continuity, development, and players who understand the system. Moody, Podziemski, Trace Jackson-Davis, and maybe if the Kuminga trade doesn't go through, even him. But make no mistake, the dynasty days are done. This is a new blueprint, a new identity. And for Moses Moody, the 2025-26 season could be his defining year. Final thoughts. 2 teams, Two young players, two different paths. Jonathan Kuminga may be on his way to a starring role in Sacramento, finally free to chase greatness. Moses Moody is rising quietly, trusted by a franchise that believes in his potential to anchor the next generation. And somewhere in the middle of it all, the balance of power in the West is shifting. The rebuilds are over. The battles are just beginning. The Golden State Warriors are entering a new era, but instead of doubling down on experience, they're placing their chips on something far riskier: unproven youth. At the center of this gamble, Moses Moody. After an injury-plagued postseason where his production dipped, Moody now finds himself in the spotlight. No more excuses, no more waiting. This season, he's not the future, he's the present. With Klay Thompson gone and the Warriors moving toward a motion-heavy, spacing-first offense, Moody's skill set is suddenly vital. He can stretch the floor, guard 1 through 3, make smart off-ball cuts, and defend the league's toughest wings. And with Curry and Butler drawing defensive gravity, Moody could quietly become a 14 to 16 PPG scorer if he capitalizes on his role. But if he doesn't, the narrative shifts quickly. The Warriors didn't chase big-name wings in free agency. Instead, they made their stance clear. Moody is their guy. Behind the scenes, Steve Kerr has worked closely with him this summer, tightening his handle, refining his reads in transition, and preparing him for real responsibility. Some league execs think the Warriors are overly optimistic. Others say this is a classic Golden State slow play, the same formula that turned Jordan Poole into a breakout star. He's got the tools, the IQ, and he doesn't force it, one Western Conference scout told The Ringer. If they give him 30 minutes a night, don't be surprised if he becomes a top-tier 3-and-D wing by mid-season. But while Moody rises, the Kuminga situation has spiraled into chaos. Golden State made him a 2-year, $45 million offer. He said no. Now, he sits unsigned, a restricted free agent with no resolution in sight. And the ripple effect is real. The Warriors are the only team in the league that hasn't signed or re-signed a single player this offseason. Behind closed doors, frustration is mounting. Kuminga feels the team held him back, never truly giving him the green light, despite showing clear growth last season. The relationship has cooled and the front office is stuck. Former GM Bobby Marks summed it up. Open quote, "This is a lose-lose. If Kuminga plays next season on an $8 million qualifying offer, the Warriors lose all trade flexibility." Close quote. Because here's the reality. If a superstar becomes available, say a Giannis-level talent, the Warriors need Kuminga on a bigger deal to match salary. Without that, any blockbuster move requires sacrificing core pieces, like Draymond or Butler. That's why the 2-year, $45 million deal was a compromise. But Kuminga isn't budging. He made it clear with one statement, open quote, "I'll bet on myself all day," close quote. So now, Golden State walks a thin line. Moody is being trusted to rise. Kuminga is daring them to blink. And with the West getting deeper, slower decisions might cost them more than just wins. They might cost them the future. Jonathan Kuminga has made his move, and it's bold. He's reportedly set to play out this season on the $7.9 million qualifying offer, aiming to hit unrestricted free agency in 2026. That gives him full control over his future. But it's also one of the riskiest bets a young player can make, especially in a system like Golden State's, where nothing is promised. There are whispers. Multiple teams, including contenders and rising squads, are already preparing offers north of $90 million over 4 years. It's a massive jump from the 2-year, $45 million extension the Warriors reportedly put on the table. But here's the problem. None of that is guaranteed. All it takes is one bad year, one injury, one fall back into the rotation's shadows. Last postseason, Kuminga's role vanished until injuries forced the coaching staff's hand. Then, almost out of nowhere, he showed up. Strong, confident, efficient. He was scoring in bunches, playing elite defense, and showing flashes of a future star. But even with that performance, nothing changed. His role remains undefined, his minutes inconsistent, and as of now, his future in Golden State is on the thinnest possible thread. And that's where the real danger lies. If Kuminga spends this next season buried behind veterans, playing 18 to 22 minutes a night, how likely is it that those $90 million offers still stand next summer? If his stats stagnate or worse, drop, teams may hesitate. And Kuminga will have walked away from long-term security for what? Now zoom out. Look at the bigger picture. What exactly are the Warriors doing? This isn't just about money. This is about a fractured timeline. A team clinging to a fading dynasty and a young star demanding a future. The Warriors want to maximize whatever Steph Curry has left. And no one blames them. He's one of the greatest ever. But at what cost? Kuminga was supposed to be the bridge. The player who could take them from the championship era into the next chapter. He's long, athletic, defensive-minded, and shows real star upside when given freedom. But instead of nurturing him, Golden State hesitated, again and again. Even in meaningless regular season blowouts, veterans stayed on the floor while Kuminga sat, watching, waiting. And now, he's not waiting anymore. This situation could have been avoided. Kuminga delivered everything a young prospect is supposed to. He stayed professional, improved year after year, and when he finally got meaningful minutes, he delivered. His scoring efficiency rose, his defensive reads sharpened, his presence made the Warriors better. But the trust never followed. And now, Golden State might be paying the price. Around the league, front offices are watching closely. Executives see what's happening. A two-way wing with elite tools who might become available without a blockbuster trade. That almost never happens. Internally, the tension is growing too. Reports suggest some veterans have privately backed Kuminga, urging the staff to give him more responsibility. They know what he brings. They've seen it firsthand. But others aren't so sure. There's a divide, a silent tug of war between loyalty to the past and the promise of the future. And it's not just Kuminga feeling the ripple effects. Players like Moses Moody and Trayce Jackson-Davis are watching closely. They're wondering where they fit in all this. Will they also be asked to wait years for real opportunity? Will they also be held back in favor of experience? The fans see it too, and they're starting to speak louder. For the first time in years, longtime Warriors fans are questioning the front office. Are they still building for something sustainable, or just desperately squeeze out one last playoff push before the curtain falls? Because this, right here, this is the kind of situation that can shape the next decade of a franchise. And it's not just about player development. It's about trades, flexibility, leverage. The Warriors have been connected to multiple high-level trade targets, but in each case, matching salaries has been a roadblock. That's where Kuminga could have been the key. If he was signed to a $22 million a year deal, he becomes the perfect trade chip, a young asset with upside and a reasonable contract. That's how you land stars. That's how you stay relevant. But at $8 million, that kind of contract doesn't open doors. It closes them. You can't match salaries. You can't build competitive offers. You're stuck unless you're willing to part with a core player. And so far, the Warriors haven't been. So now they're boxed in. Kuminga wants to bet on himself. The team wants to play the long game. And unless someone flinches, this is headed toward a worst-case scenario. He walks next summer for nothing. And the Warriors are left staring at the wreckage of a lost opportunity. No cap space, no return, and an aging core that's already slowing down. Final thought. Kuminga isn't just a player in contract limbo. He's a symbol of timelines colliding, of a franchise caught between the glory of yesterday and the demands of tomorrow. Golden State can still fix this. They can still offer a deal that rewards Kuminga and keeps their options open. But every day that passes makes that harder. And if they let him walk, after all this, it won't just be a missed signing. It'll be a warning. A blueprint of what happens when loyalty to the past blinds you to the future.